Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel for another unboxing, and today we have got the Menace of Infinite Crisis, one of my favorite bad guys in DC Comics history, the one and only Superboy Prime. If you read Infinite Crisis, you know what I'm talking about. This dude's a badass, and I have waited for this figure for so long. Of all the stuff I wanted a McFarlane multiverse figure for, Superboy Prime was definitely it. Absolutely in love with Superboy Prime as a villain. He's just incredibly unstoppable, vicious, batshit crazy. You can't help but love the guy. So it's really nice to be able to finally get this guy in figure form. But let's go ahead and take a look at the package real quick before we get him out. So there he is. I do love the costume design. I think it's really nice. I think they did a bang up job on that. Of course, there it is, it says Superboy Prime. And then of course on the other side, Superboy Prime Infinite Crisis. And then, of course, since McFarlane loves your boy Raj, they're finally doing the action shots of the figure on the back instead of the stupid comic images. So, there is a better shot of Superboy Prime in action. Though I will say, it looks like maybe the skin tone's slightly different in this picture, but it also may be affected by the lighting they're using in the photo, because the figure itself looks like the skin is pretty pale. Well, let's go ahead and open it up, and we'll see how Superboy Prime is, and see if it's going to live up to all of my hype, because I've wanted this thing for the longest time. In fact, the moment I found out this thing was even going to be made, I was scouring the world, trying to find a way to possibly pre-order it, or just even track it down retail. Your boy needed it. McFarlane's doing me a favor. Another flight base. I feel like the Superboy Prime, if it did not come with a flight base, it would have been absolutely criminal, and I probably would have been real salty. Now, granted, don't get me wrong, I'm also not stupid. If it didn't come with a flight base, I just would have went to Target, bought a NECA flight base, and I would have stuck them on one. And in fact, I plan on finding some way to put it up in one of my displays and have a nice little showdown fight, aerial attack scene between Superboy Prime and maybe possibly Homelander, just for S's and G's. And if you don't know what that means shiz and gigs. So, anyways, there's Prime in the bubble. Man, lots of like armor pieces to this thing. Very cool, molded on extras. Which, I mean, you obviously need to. If you're familiar with the character's design from Infinite Crisis at all, you definitely know that there was a lot to his suit in terms of, hoses, armor pieces, attachments. Superboy Prime was not messing around. And I think from what I can see so far with this figure, I think McFarlane did it justice, but we'll see. We'll get it all the way out. We'll take a look at him, and we'll see how he feels in hand, because obviously that's going to be what makes that decision. All right, so first off, okay. Woo. The left leg on it was already kind of cocked. Fortunately, it was finally able to bend. A little stiff at first, which, I mean, it is cold out here in the toy room today, so that may not be helping it. But first off, let's go ahead and check out the toe articulation. How does it work? Works great on this one. So, as always, hooking your boy Raj up with the stupid toe articulation. We've got the rubber cape per the norm, but it does look really good. It's not just like overflowingly gigantic. It's just like, hey, here's a cape and then a little bit of flowage here at the bottom. So I do like that. Now, the face design on this thing is pretty good. Sorry, move my table. The face design on it is pretty nice. Like I said, the skin's a little pale for my liking. But if I remember correctly, he was fairly pale in the comics. So that's not a big surprise there. So also the S obviously is the black and red design of the S rather than the red S with the yellow background on it. So I do really like that. The figure itself, the design of the armor and the hosing and stuff on it is pretty comic accurate, which I'm very okay with. Because I just love the overall design of Superboy Prime. Now, I can see how this could possibly hinder movement or for posing a little bit, because obviously it's tethered there, so you're not going to be able to flex like his arms in too much more than likely without chancing popping a hose off, but then again, right there didn't seem too bad. So, I mean, it may be okay. But yeah, but it also at the same time, though, it's kind of nice that those hoses kind of do move with it, because it does add the extra layer of, I guess, the overall look of an aesthetic of the costume as you're posing them. That way, it's just not like, hey, here's just a straggler hose. Like, it actually sticks with it pretty well based on how you move the arm. So that is pretty nice. All the hoses down here along the leg, they all move. They're all their own single rubber attachments. So that's real nice. Now, I do wish this one would have come with some extra hands. That would have been a very nice added value. However, with all the extra, like, armor pieces and moldings they probably had to do for all these hoses and tubes, I can see why possibly they didn't add the hands, but it does have the flight base with it, and if I had to trade hands for a flight base for a figure like this, I'm probably going to do it. The head, not a lot of range of motion there, obviously, because of the collar on the suit, which is totally fine. Pretty much expected that. But all the arm joints work good. The elbows are solid. The rotator joints and the shoulders are good. The wrists are good and tight. Plenty of rotation there, movement, but they are tight. They're not loosey-goosey. The knees are actually really tight on this, which is a little questionable, but at the same time, like I said, it's cold today in here, so it may just be the plastic's cold, and I just need to be a little careful with it. But it does have your typical ratchet joints for the knees, which I'm okay with, especially for figures you're going to have like on a flight stand for a flying position. It gives you a lot more options for being able to put them in that position and not have to worry about eventually the leg just kind of just slowly weighing itself down, and then boom, it's back to the way it was. There is some minimal amount of movement for the torso, which I didn't expect a lot there with the armor and stuff on it. So that's pretty normal. Well, let's go ahead and get him on this flight stand real quick and check out how he looks. This thing looks great, honestly. I'm very impressed with most of the kind of offshoot character stuff that McFarlane's been doing lately. And this one's no exception. I mean, the paint application is real smooth. I don't see any bleed overs. I don't see any fading. And I don't really see any spots where paint was just completely missed, which is nice. And for something that's got silver, silver paint on some of the armor applications, something you do have to worry about is possibly one of the other colors either getting on it or vice versa, because that color does show real easy if you get any kind of scuffs on it or any type of like paint rub off. But let's go ahead and get them on the stand. So with this one, with the stand, you're probably going to want to try to fit it between the hoses around his midsection, which is going to be a little difficult because they are pretty tight on there. In fact, the flight hook itself is actually going to be really snug. I'm not sure if you can see it like right there. I mean, it is pretty well on there, but that's fine. The only thing I kind of wish that was an option with these flight stands is if you could raise them or lower them. Instead, it just kind of gives you the option to crank it like that. You can tilt it back or tilt it forward. But I do think that this figure definitely needs to be in some kind of a flight position. Something menacing, like, yeah, because if you remember, if you've read the, Infinite Crisis comics or anything, Superboy Prime was pretty well just, I mean, way too powerful, overpowerful. If you want to talk about people who are OP and characters that are OP, Superboy Prime was definitely it. But man, this thing looks great on this flight base. I just wish it did have a fist hand with it, so you could have given them the fly-in fist motion. But yeah, all the hip joints are good. Here's another thing I'm noticing they're starting to do more often is the tights. Basically, the underwear essentially is rubber. It's not even just painted on. It's like an actual rubber piece. So more likely, it's just hollow inside there. So that's interesting. Which hey, it might give you more options for posing. Which I mean, I guess I can't be too mad at. But yeah, this thing is real nice. The shoulder pads are rubber too, and they do have a little bit of give to them right up here at the top. So I mean, you can move it a little bit, but I wouldn't go overkill with it. But yeah, this is not bad. This is a pretty nice figure. Just needs some different hands. So I'm gonna definitely say that's a for certain on him. It just needs different hands. Otherwise, though, dude, this thing looks great. Like, I'm pretty dang happy with it. I just need to find some way to put it in the case where he's gonna be battling with somebody, which I'm of course gonna be redoing my detox pretty soon, anyways, to make that happen. And then, of course, real quick, the card that comes with it. Let's go ahead and see if I can get the back of the card on the screen in case you want to try to read it, which I don't think you can. I can't get my damn camera to focus enough. But yeah, so there we go. Superboy Prime, DC McFarlane Multiverse, giving it a solid 9. If it had more hands with it, I'd give it a definite 10 for sure. Unfortunately, not a lot of things you can do pose-wise with open hands like this. But the flight base is great. The figure looks awesome. Colors, posability, whole 9. This one's a banger. If you see it, and if you're a Superboy Prime fan at all, don't hesitate. This one is absolutely incredible. Definitely recommend it. But guys, that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you for checking it out. Remember to follow me on Instagram at CollectingRaj. And also there you can message me if you have any questions, or if there's a previous video you saw where you know, like card opening, something like that. And if there's something that you're interested or you want that I might be willing to barter with, feel free to DM me on Instagram and we can talk shop. Otherwise, feel free to leave a comment on this video. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I certainly do appreciate all the love and support. But that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for checking out the video. And as always, have yourselves an awesome week.